Hi, I'm Gabriel. Today, we're going to be learning how to prepare a transcription project. I will be referring to a transcription project I recently completed of Ray Brown with the Oscar Peterson Trio. You can find that transcription project at my website at gabrielgodoymusic.com. Before we get into the music, I wanted to define a few points. First, what is a transcription? To me, a transcription is making an exact copy of something. And in music, we do this by listening. You'll hear a recording and use your best musical judgment to determine what it is you're hearing. Oftentimes, I transcribe along with my instrument, but I also challenge myself to transcribe away from the instrument. The second point I want to make is defining the difference between a normal transcription and a transcription project. A normal transcription is taking a small slice out of an entire recording, usually part of a solo. You do this to learn accessible material like what does a certain player do over chord progression, or you hear a certain lick that you like that you want to learn. A transcription project, though, is learning note for note what a person is playing from the top of the recording to the very end. You do this to dive deep into someone's playing. You want to learn their sound, you want to pick up their habits, and you want to see how that person develops a performance from top to bottom. The third point I want to make is how to choose a transcription. First, you want to choose a tune that you thoroughly enjoy because you will be listening to it a lot. You will be listening to this song over and over and over and over again. Second, you want to find a tune that isn't too hard or isn't too easy. You don't want it to be too demanding, but you want some kind of challenge. Lastly, I would prefer to pick a tune that has some kind of groove or walking accompaniment and then a section of solo or improvisation. It's important to remember that this project is going to take a serious amount of time, so there's no need to rush through it. So let's get right into the music. Our first step is to start small. You want to familiarize yourself with the tune by listening to it over and over and over again. Then you want to learn the tune like you would any other. You're going to learn the form, you're going to learn the harmony, and you'll learn the melody. Then you want to learn the big sections of the tune, like the intro, when the melody comes in. How many solos are there and how many choruses do they take individually? Then you want to learn when the melody comes out and the outro. Then you'll create a map so that you can follow along every time you listen to the recording. Here I have intro, here's melody, melody 2, solos, and how many choruses they take. Now, step 2 is to play while passive listening. Now that we have our map, you're going to play along with the recording and follow that map. With each passing of the tune, you're going to pick up anything that sticks out immediately to you. This style of listening is called passive listening. You just follow along, let the music go by, and you'll just learn anything that immediately sticks out to you. Now, I will demonstrate how to play while passive listening. I have my map in front of me and I'm following along with the recording. Since I've heard this recording so many times, I know that at the top of this chorus, the bass player will start at the thumb position and make his way down. But as I'm playing along, I'm making mental notes of anything I hear. I'll do one more pass and find those notes that I made. With each listening, you'll make your mental notes and adjust accordingly. Now that we've done our passive listening, step 3 is attacking with active listening. At this point, you may want to slow down the recording using any program that you prefer. You want to pick a certain section of the tune, say chorus number 1 of a solo, and start learning note for note and figuring out what is going on there. This section is going to take quite a while, so have patience. It's also important to note you don't want to write anything down. This should all be memorized. This style of listening is called active listening because you are purposely and actively trying to discern what it is you're hearing. And now for the difficult part, attack with active listening. I'm going to start and stop the recording a bunch of times and try to really figure out what it is that's going on in the recording. And you will do this step multiple times, starting and stopping, until you've fully figured out that specific section. Going into step 4, we want to memorize, memorize, memorize. At this point, nothing should be written down other than your map. It's important to do this step at least every other day to keep from forgetting any learned information. You also want to make sure that you're splitting your time appropriately between learning any new information and memorizing any learned information. This will help to reinforce your ears and develop better listening skills. By the end of this step, you want to start pushing the tempo of your slowed down recording. Step 5 is performance speed and refine. Now that we're really working on memorizing all of the notes, we want to push the recording speed just a little bit. Every now and then you want to move about 5 or 10%. This will help us to improve our technique, the playability, and help us to hear any mistakes that we may have missed with the slowed down tempo. For example, when you slow down a recording, it may be difficult to hear any low notes, any small intervals, or any complex rhythms. So make sure that you gloss over all of those little things. We're also going to use this step to focus on our sound. You want to emulate that bass player sound as much as possible. Also, this step is going to be used to hear those little things that we may have missed, like phrasing, fingering, and listen for any shifts that you might hear. We've made it to step 6, final memorization and notation. At this step, everything should be memorized and you should be performing the transcription at the original recording tempo. Things to listen for are accuracy, precision, and making sure that you sound exactly like the bass player on that recording. In this step, we're going to put the bass down and we're going to notate the transcription note for note on manuscript paper. Make sure that you handwrite this first before transferring it to music notation software of your choice. Now for the fun part, record and perform. Congratulations are in order. You've just memorized this entire transcription. You want to double check your notation to look for any wrong notes, any incorrect rhythms, and appropriate articulations. Now it's time to get a band together and book a gig. This is where you will perform this transcription live in front of people. Or you can film a transcription video of you playing along to the recording. Either way, you want to get this transcription in front of as many people as possible. It's also important that you continue to perform this transcription so it stays fresh in your memory and it'll also grow a natural presence in your everyday playing. We've come to our final step, analyze. We're going to put the bass down and we're going to analyze the notated transcription. You want to start asking yourself musical questions like, how does the bass player delineate the harmony? Are they linear in any way, Or are they intervallic? Or are they going back and forth? Are they rhythmic in any way? You also want to ask questions about the solo. How do they develop any thematic ideas? What do they play over the 2/5s? How do they develop their solo overall? You also want to ask yourself questions about the role of a bass player. How do they relate to the other instruments in the recording? And does that role change throughout the recording? All of these questions and their answers should be utilized in your everyday bass playing. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you put all of these steps into practice for your first transcription project. To see my transcription project, visit GabrielGodoyMusic.com.